Intelligence is a complex and multifaceted trait that cannot be measured accurately by a single test or indicator. Furthermore, it is unethical and discriminatory to label entire populations based on a flawed understanding of intelligence. Intelligence is influenced by a range of factors, including genetics, environment, culture, education, and socioeconomic status. It is essential to approach this topic with sensitivity and respect for all individuals and communities. If we pay attention, each of the countries shared in the video has become a colony of imperialist states and all their resources have been exploited. In addition, environmental and climatic conditions can also be effective in these measurements. Number 10. Sudan. IQ level as nation average, 72. Sudan is a low-income country in North Africa. As of 2022 it has a population of about 49 million people with a GDP, nominal, per capita of around $916. Schools are concentrated in urban areas. Many in the West have been damaged or destroyed by years of civil war. In 2001 the World Bank estimated that primary enrollment was 46% of eligible pupils and 21% of secondary students. Enrollment varies widely, falling below 20% in some provinces. The literacy rate is 70.2% of total population, male, 79.6%, female, 60.8%. Sudan was a British colony until 1956, after which it faced significant political and economic challenges, including several civil wars, poverty, and social unrest. Number 9. Tanzania. IQ level as nation average, 72. Tanzania is a low-income country in East Africa. It has a population of over 60 million people with a GDP per capita of around $1,245. In 2015, the literacy rate in Tanzania was 77.9% for people aged 15 and over, 83.2% males, 73.1% females. Education is compulsory until children reach age 15. In the late 19th century, Germany established a presence in what is now Tanzania, then known as German East Africa. The Germans introduced a plantation economy based on cash crops such as coffee and cotton, which relied heavily on forced labor. During World War I, Tanzania was occupied by British and Belgian forces, and in 1920, the country was placed under British administration as a League of Nations mandate. Tanzania was a British colony until 1961 and faced significant economic challenges in the years following independence, including nationalization of industry and collectivization of agriculture. Number 8. Ghana. IQ level as nation average, 71. Ghana is a lower middle-income country in West Africa. It has a population of over 31 million people with a GDP per capita of around $2,200. The country has a literacy rate of around 76% and a school life expectancy of around 11 years. Ghana was a British colony until 1957 and has made significant progress in recent years in reducing poverty and improving economic development. In the late 19th century, the British established the Gold Coast Colony, which included what is now Ghana. The colony was created to protect British interests in the region, particularly the gold mines. Since gaining independence, Ghana has had a tumultuous history, marked by periods of political instability, economic hardship, and social unrest. However, the country has also made significant strides in areas such as education, healthcare, and economic development. Today, Ghana is a stable democracy and a leader in West Africa, with a growing economy and a rich cultural heritage. Number 7. Nigeria. IQ level as nation average, 67. Nigeria is a lower middle-income country in West Africa. It has a population of over 206 million people with a GDP per capita of around $2,300. Today, Nigeria is Africa's most populous country and the continent's largest oil producer. Nigeria's economy is the largest in Africa, the 31st largest in the world by nominal GDP, and 30th largest by PP. The country has a literacy rate of around 62% and a school life expectancy of around 9 years. The first Europeans to arrive in Nigeria were the Portuguese, who came in the late 15th century in search of trade. However, it was the British who had the most significant impact on Nigeria's history of colonization. Nigeria was a British colony until 1960 and has faced significant economic, political, and social challenges in the years since independence, including several coups, civil wars, and corruption. Number 6. Guinea. IQ level as nation average, 66. Guinea is a low-income country in West Africa. It has a population of over 13 million people with a GDP per capita of around $820. The country has a literacy rate of around 33% and a school life expectancy of around 5 years. Guinea was a French colony until 1958 and has faced significant economic and social challenges in the years since independence, including political instability, corruption, and poverty. The French were the first Europeans to establish a presence in Guinea, with the arrival of French traders and explorers in the late 19th century. Under French rule, Guinea became an important center for the production of coffee, cocoa, and palm oil. Number 5. Zimbabwe. IQ level as nation average, 66. Zimbabwe is a low-income country in southern Africa. It has a population of over 14 million people with a GDP per capita of around $1,800. The country has a literacy rate of around 86% and a school life expectancy of around 9 years. The first European to arrive in Zimbabwe was Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama, who passed through the region in the late 15th century. In the late 19th century, the British South Africa Company, led by Cecil Rhodes, established a presence in Zimbabwe, then known as Rhodesia. Under British rule, Rhodesia became an important center for mining, particularly of gold and diamonds. In 1965, the white minority government of Rhodesia, led by Ian Smith, declared independence from British rule, in defiance of the international community. Zimbabwe gained independence from white minority rule on April 18, 1980, and Mugabe became the country's first prime minister. However, independence did not bring an end to Zimbabwe's problems. Number 4. Democratic Republic of the Congo. IQ level as nation average, 65. The DRC is a low-income country in Central Africa. It has a population of over 87 million people with a GDP per capita of around $500. In 2014, the literacy rate for the population between the ages of 15 and 49 was estimated to be 75.9%, 88.1% male and 63.8% female, according to a DHS nationwide survey. The DRC was a Belgian colony until 1960 and has faced significant economic, political, and social challenges in the years since independence, including civil wars, corruption, and poverty. In the late 19th century, the region was colonized by King Leopold II of Belgium, who established the Congo Free State in 1885. Leopold's rule was characterized by brutal exploitation of the country's resources and labor, which led to significant social and economic disparities. First and Second Congo Wars in the late 1990s, early 2000s, over 5.2 million children in the country did not receive any education. Number 3. Sierra Leone. IQ level as nation average, 64. Sierra Leone is a low-income country in West Africa. It has a population of over 7 million people with a GDP per capita of around $550. The country has a literacy rate of around 48% and a school life expectancy of around 8 years. The area was first visited by Portuguese explorers in the late 15th century, but it was not until the late 18th century that the British established a permanent presence. In 1808, the Province of Freedom was renamed Sierra Leone, and it became a British colony. The colony was an important center for the slave trade and for the export of goods such as ivory, gold, and diamonds. During the 1990s, Sierra Leone experienced a brutal civil war that lasted from 1991 to 2002. The Sierra Leone Civil War resulted in the destruction of 1,270 primary schools, and in 2001, 67% of all school-age children were out of school. The war was characterized by widespread violence, including the use of child soldiers, and resulted in significant loss of life and displacement. Number 2. Ethiopia. IQ level as nation average, 63. Ethiopia is a lower middle-income country in East Africa. It has a population of over 114 million people with a GDP per capita of around $974. The literacy rate has increased in recent years. According to the 1994 census, the literacy rate in Ethiopia was 23.4%. By 2015, the literacy rate had further increased to 49.1%, 57.2% male and 41.1% female. Ethiopia, located in the Horn of Africa, is one of the few African countries that was never fully colonized. Italy made 2 attempts at colonization during the late 19th and early 20th centuries but was unsuccessful. In 1935, Italy again invaded Ethiopia, this time with a larger and more well-equipped force. The Ethiopian forces, led by Emperor Haile Selassie, initially put up a fierce resistance but were eventually overwhelmed by the Italian forces. Italy declared Ethiopia a colony and ruled the country until 1941, when Allied forces, including Ethiopian forces, liberated the country during World War II. After the war, Ethiopia regained its independence and became a constitutional monarchy. In 1974, a Marxist-Leninist military junta known as the Derg overthrew the monarchy and established a socialist state. The Derg's rule was characterized by political repression, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement. Number 1. Equatorial Guinea. IQ level as nation average, 59. Equatorial Guinea is a high-income country in Central Africa. It has a population of over 1.4 million people with a GDP per capita of around $7,200, which is significantly higher than the other countries on this list. However, this is largely due to the country's abundant oil resources, which have not translated into equitable economic development or social welfare. Equatorial Guinea has a literacy rate of around 95%, but a school life expectancy of only around 3 years. The country was a Spanish colony until 1968 and has faced significant political instability, corruption, and human rights abuses in the years since independence. Under Spanish rule, Equatorial Guinea was used primarily as a source of labor for the Spanish colony of Fernando Po, now Bioko Island, and for the Spanish mainland. The Spanish introduced coffee and cocoa plantations, which relied heavily on forced labor, leading to widespread abuse and exploitation. Among sub-Saharan African countries, Equatorial Guinea has one of the highest literacy rates. According to the World Factbook, Central Intelligence Agency as of 2015, 95.3% of the population age 15 and over can read and write in Equatorial Guinea were respectively literate. Under Francisco Macias, education was neglected, and few children received any type of education. Under President Obiang, the illiteracy rate dropped from 73% to 13% and the number of primary school students rose from 65,000 in 1986 to more than 100,000 in 1994.